Catherine Rizak for All Access TV, and I am joined by Canadian country music star, Don Amero. Thank you so much for joining me today, Don.
Hey, thanks. Happy to be here in this strange time, but it's happy
Yeah,
to be here nonetheless.
for sure, for sure. So you've had a very interesting few months, lots of new music coming out, plus you recorded a music video in a pandemic.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
It's been, I've always been lucky enough to have the kind of mind to think, how can you diversify and expand, in interesting situations. And this year has been no shortage of interesting situations for musicians, especially. So we had put out a song back at the beginning of May called Wouldn't Be Home. And
Great song.
obviously thanks. We were sort of in the midst of this, pandemic, obviously by that point, and we wanted to put a video together. We had a bit of a budget for it, and obviously we had to think about how to keep, people safe and social distancing in mind. And I work with a great director, Landon Lake, and he said, "Why don't we do this?" And so if you watch the video, you see me sitting on the stairs, and there's kind of all this life happening around me, but in actuality, I wasn't there for any of those other people being in the scene. I was kind of like green screen behind me, and you wouldn't even have thought twice that there was a green screen there. But it's kind of cool. So these people kind of coming in and out and kind of living life around me. But but none of those actors were all on at the same time, which is quite cool.
And you would never know. You would never.
Yeah, exactly. Kinda, yeah. I mean, there's some illusion obviously to that, but yeah, it was really great that we were able to kind of pull something like that together in the midst of this pandemic. And actually, we thought, in some ways, as a stamp of time, I think we're going to look back at that in 10 years, say, "Oh, remember we had to do this video in the midst of the pandemic." And so yeah, we're pretty proud of being able to pull that off.
Absolutely. And tell us a little bit about your new EP, The Next Chapter, that was just released a couple months ago.
Yeah, it's the next chapter for a number of different reasons. One of the big ones for me is I'm 40 now, so it's all downhill from here. Uh, no, it's definitely a new chapter in my life. And musically speaking, it was my first record being put out with a record deal. So I signed a record deal with MDM Recordings 2 years ago, and it's our first sort of foray together is this album. And the next chapter, it was sort of a big reason for that was so 6 of the 7 songs in this EP I didn't write. So I'm still writing a lot of songs, doing a lot of that stuff, but I just realized that there's a lot of great songs out there that exist, and I get to be the vessel to bring them to the world. And there's songs that resonate with me too. So I feel like that's another big reason why this is the next chapter, because it was kind of a new version of an album for me. So yeah, it feels right so far. It's been a great response.
That's awesome. So tell us about this new hosting gig that's coming up for you.
Yeah, this is an exciting year. I get to be part of the True North Youth Foundation Gala. I'll be co-hosting alongside the fantastic Sarah Orleski. The night's going to be filled with some incredible little skits that we put together for the show. We're going to be interviewing some of the players. And what's really special about this year is this year you get to watch from the comfort of your own home. So you can wear PJs or a suit or however you want to dress up for the show. And the other really cool thing is that so when you pre-order your tickets, so I think by November 16th is the early bird deadline to buy your tickets. If you do that, you're entered for a contest to win a wellness package that will be delivered to your house by either a coach or one of the Winnipeg Jets players themselves. So hopefully you get in November 16th and get your tickets early, and hopefully you'll win that draw.
You're kind of a Project 11 ambassador. Tell us about the new project you have going on with Project 11 and this new podcast.
Yeah, so I mean that was sort of born out of necessity too for us, because again, I was supposed to be going off into these communities, and we started thinking, well, what can we do instead of that? And I've been wanting to get in the podcast game for quite some time, and it just felt like the right move. And so I presented it to the Project 11 team, and they were already kind of thinking that way as well. And so myself and Susie Friesen, the director of Project 11, we co-host this thing. So I've gotten a little bit of co-host experience already. It's really a mental health wellness sort of podcast where we talk to many interesting people of all different walks of life from here in Manitoba and probably beyond one day as well. But right now we've got, we chatted with Josh Morrissey recently. Lynette Siragusa is the next one coming out. We have an amazing list of guests on the show that we just can't wait to share with everybody. And again, the whole part of it is just how do we challenge ourselves mentally so that we would keep ourselves healthy as individuals, so that way we can help those around us.
For sure, for sure. So people can find that podcast anywhere where they usually find their podcasts. So Spotify,
Yeah.
Apple, Google Podcast, YouTube.
It's all over the place. Yep.
Perfect,
sure.
perfect. So you've been pretty busy, but it's getting close to Christmas. So do you think we're going to hear about anything about Amero Little Christmas this year?
Yeah, I mean, again, another one of these like curveballs is trying to figure out how to do that this year. So yes, it is absolutely going to happen this year. I feel like we need Christmas more than ever. And I know for this show, a lot of folks have said to me over the years that this is sort of like their kickoff to Christmas. And so I think, it also serves me a lot too. This show is sort of my year end sort of capping things off. And it's definitely been my biggest show that I've ever produced yet. And so I want to make sure to keep offering that. So it will be, I think, in an online capacity again this year, but it's coming up. We've got a lot of things in the works right now, so stay tuned for that, and you'll definitely be hearing lots more about A Merry Little Christmas in the coming weeks.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Don, for joining me.
Always a pleasure.
And we look forward to hearing more about Merry Little Christmas and your music. And we look forward to seeing you at the True North Youth Foundation Gala.
I'll be there.
Awesome. For All Access TV, I'm Catherine Ryza.